Hi, my name is Christine Ward and I'm the Executive Director of Crime Victims Assistance Network, ICANN. We provide supportive services to victims and survivors of violent crime. One of our areas of expertise is assisting victims through the parole hearing process. We have attended hundreds of parole hearings under many administrations and have helped thousands of victims over the years navigate this very confusing and intimidating process. This video is a short introduction to the parole hearing process, the services available to you, and your rights as a victim or survivor in the process. At ICANN, we believe that it is essential that you have as much information about the laws, processes, procedures, rights, and regulations that affect you. There's a lot to know about parole hearings. It is nothing like a court procedure. And new laws and policies regularly affect how these hearings are run and who is eligible to be considered for parole. It seems like things are always changing.
As a victim advocate in the parole hearing process, we assist victims and survivors through the process step by step. Why do we feel it is important to have an advocate with you at a parole hearing? Because our role as your advocate is to support you, ensure your rights are being upheld, and be there to assist you. Only you. Our sole purpose is to ensure that your needs and rights are met during the parole hearing. As advocates, we can help you draft your impact statement or letter that you can read at the parole hearing or provide to the parole board. We provide emotional support and explain the parole hearing process, what it is, how decisions are made, and your role as a victim survivor in the process. We can also attend a hearing with you or for you. This process can be scary and intimidating, and you as a victim or survivor should never have to navigate this process alone. We are here to help.
Parole hearing is led by the Board of Parole Hearings, and we have commissioners, usually two, that are in a room, and they are there to determine whether or not an inmate is suitable to be released on parole. As victims' rights attorneys, as victim advocates, we are really there to support the victim in any way that they need. Victims a lot of times don't know where the resources are. So it depends on who they find first. If they find the 1-800-VICTIMS agency and they contact us, we would definitely refer them to ICANN, as ICANN does a lot of work in the parole process. The criminal justice system is a very long process. It is a very difficult process, and it's difficult to navigate. However, you do have 17 constitutional rights as you're going through this process. And there are agencies that are out there to support you, to empower you, and to ensure that you have what you need as you're navigating through these processes. So please reach out to us at the 1-800-VICTIMS agency or to ICANN, and we will help provide you with guidance that you need to navigate through the process.
A parole hearing is an administrative hearing that is held to decide if an inmate is ready to be released from prison. At the hearing, there will be two commissioners who run the hearing and ask the inmate lots of questions about the crime and what they have done in prison to better themselves. There may be a deputy district attorney representing the county where the crime was committed, and victims are allowed at the hearing. And victims, survivors, and their family members always speak last. Now, keep in mind the inmate and their attorney will be present as well. It is the inmate's hearing, and so everything will be focused on them to decide if they have changed for the better while in prison.
It is imperative that victims and their family members contact both the district attorney's office that handled the criminal case and also ICANN. The local district attorney's office can help explain the legal process and also to help explain what has happened historically with the case. ICANN has the ability to help prepare a victim and their families for the hearing. They can help prepare victim impact statements and to make sure that proper services are provided to the victims and their families. We work together to help victims prepare for this hearing.
In 1995, my husband was murdered by a contractor who worked for us for several years.
In 1992, my 30-year-old brother was murdered by a Crips gang leader for no reason.
In 2005, Nicole was taking a nap.
She was sleeping.
And this monster came in and took a claw hammer to the back of her neck 13 times.
I was notified by a phone call I received at work, and then I was informed by the detective or by somebody at the scene that my mother had been murdered. and she was killed in her room, and then they revealed to me that they believe it was done by my brother.
Petrified. You can't move. But I knew that I had a child to take care of, so I had to keep moving forward, somehow surviving, but it was terrible.
It's destroyed our family, destroyed my mom. My mom never really recovered. She passed away in 2010, but their life became going to the cemetery every day, for so many years, just going and visiting every day.
It was like what I like to call our point zero, where everything changed for us in our life. I thought we had the perfect family, and 1 second it was turned around and we had to start all over.
When he did that, he essentially has orphaned me. I mean, I'm not saying poor me, my mother is dead. But she was it. There was kind of like no one else in my family was that close. He put himself in prison and orphaned me from her, and she and I were quite close.
Our representative from ICANN is Pat, and she guided me through this past year, maybe year and a half, she would call me and counsel with me on the phone, and she gave me a little bit of a balance.
Christine from ICANN helped us a lot, just trying to find out a little bit. She did find us a volunteer, district attorney that would help us through the case. And I don't know what we would have done without that, because they cannot argue the case, but at least they can make a legal statement on your behalf. And so that was very, very helpful. Someone
said, there's a resource that you want to get in contact with. It's all called ICANN. It's a victims resource network. And they do work on behalf of victims. They do the research, the contacting. They'll help you, and they'll attend the hearing.
Without ICANN, everything would have been different. And it's because of them I have the courage to stand up and fight back and for what's right. ICANN gives me the strength and the support that I need, and they guide me through the process the whole entire way.
Parole hearings can be scary, confusing, and intimidating. ICANN is here to help demystify this process and to help support and advocate for you at parole hearings. You should never have to try to navigate this process alone. Whether this is your first parole hearing or your 20th, we are here to help.
I can't say enough about ICANN. We haven't had any service from anybody else, and I know they're victim offices, that are supposed to, but they're not in the position that ICANN takes to really, they take it personally to help you get through. And we couldn't be more appreciative of them.
I never thought in my life that I would be standing in front of a judge in a courtroom with a victim statement, talking about the death and murder of my mother. But here I was. Nothing in my life prepared me for that moment. Nothing in my life prepares me for these hearings. I never thought growing up, I never imagined anything like that would ever happen. I was out of that world. ICANN and Chris have been such a blessing. And I feel like we can try to help others in this process.
Without ICANN, I don't think you would have the guidance and the comfort that they showed through just being there, blankets and whatever. Just talking to them and having someone listen is worth a whole lot to your heart.
Knowing that Chris and ICANN is there, I can take a breath. I can get back to my music. I can get back to my writing. I have moments of joy, and it gives me hope and peace. I will always be careful the rest of my life, but I can sleep at night now, even though the lights are on. I do sleep actually now, not only in the daytime, I actually sleep at night now. And life is going to be okay. But I have ICANN and Chris to thank for that.
Whether you choose to attend a hearing or not, we are here for you to answer questions and for emotional support. Remember, you are not alone.
This video was supported by funding awarded by state grant funds UV2106865 through the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. Produced and recorded by Weatherlight Media in Sacramento, California.